Thank you for coming today. I'd just like to make a few formal announcements. My name is Matt Kaiser. I'm the funeral director who's been assisting Mrs. Ho and her family for today's services. We're going to have a little bit of an informal affair today. We're going to ask Susan to come up in just a little bit for a short eulogy, and she's going to speak a little bit on behalf of the family and have a few words to say about her mother. And then we're going to ask anybody who would like to have some private time alone with Mrs. Ho to say your final goodbyes and to have your final time with her. At the very end, we're actually going to have an empty room for those who are visiting from our viewing capabilities to have their own personal time with Mrs. Ho. At the very end, I will invite Yin in for her final time and close the casket. After the service is over, we will be going for a short drive-by to, I had the address, 2120 East 40th in Vancouver, where everybody who has a vehicle here can follow us in behind the coach. We will be parking on West 2nd to prepare for the drive-by, and we'll give you about 10 minutes to retrieve your vehicles and meet us on West 2nd. You can pull in right in behind the coach, and we'll wait till we have the cars available, and then we'll drive together. Our immediate route right now will be going up Main Street to Kingsway, and we'll avoid the construction on Main Street, and we'll be going all the way Kingsway, and you can just follow in behind us until we're at the home. Once we are at the home, we will have a short stop with a short ceremony, and then we'll proceed to Forest Lawn Memorial Park, where we will meet at the front entrance of the Memorial Park off of Royal Oak and Canada Way, where we'll all travel together to the graveside, and there we'll have further instructions at the graveside. So, Susan, would you like to say a few words? You're welcome to remove your mask for the
Can we turn down the music a little? So, Mom lived a long life and lived independently the way she chose to. Born in 1929, Mom grew up in a vastly different place and era, one that made her choose a different life for her children, a choice that would benefit her family for many generations. Mom survived the Depression as a young girl, witnessed the Chinese Revolution, lived through the Communist government takeover, moved to Hong Kong in the 1950s, and finally settled in Vancouver by 1965. Immigrating from China, Mom was set on raising her family in a new land where she did not speak any English, and the only commonality between Canada and China was the Pacific Ocean. She raised 6 children in conditions sometimes too difficult to imagine, and it was not easy for any of us. As a Chinese woman in Canada, I watched how she overcame many challenges throughout the numerous chapters in her plentiful life. Mom worked hard, physically too, at the jobs reserved for new immigrants who did not speak English. She changed with the times and became a Canadian in her own way, at her own pace. Mom lived her later years in retirement the only way we could expect, her way. And for all her hard work to support her family, her tenacity and strength, I have the utmost respect for the life my mother chose to live. My mom would work every day, come home and make dinner for us. I remember Mom washing the laundry by hand before she had her first washing machine. She did her best, and my appreciation and respect for her dedication to her family only grew with time, as I raised my family. We grew up as immigrants with all the financial and cultural challenges. I will always remember the small sacrifices she would make for me, like taking me to Han's one-ton house as a young girl, buying me a pair of black patent shoes at Army and Navy. Looking back, she would have worked several hours to do those small things for me. She instilled in her children, especially myself, that I have passed on to my children. Not only the importance of working hard, but also striving to provide a better life for our children than we had ourselves. Mom's legacy of hard work and loyal dedication to providing a better life to our family than we had ourselves lives in us. We saw this in our family when our children were babies, and Glenn and I were starting our first company. At the time, Mom was yet to retire. She offered us what she could, a simple workspace, and very generously gave us the keys to her house. While she was working at the factory, Glenn and I started our first business. Mom came home to us working intensely at her tables, making phone calls in the front bedroom, living room, and kitchen. She was pleased to see us and to help us in any way possible. Thank you, Mom. Your kindness did not go unnoticed. Mom was widowed at the young age of 63 and retired not long after. She made a new life for herself after her father's passing, dedicated to her enjoyment of life. In her retirement, she traveled to Europe, Asia, Cuba, and the US to her heart's content. She loved staying at the Wynn in Las Vegas and went regularly. She loved luxury hotels, enjoyed cruises with her friends where there were games to win and good food always abundant. Mom enjoyed passing her time going out with friends, visiting her favorite casinos, exploring new casinos, and experiencing new restaurants. Mom enjoyed staying at beautiful hotels and probably ate better food than all of us in her retirement, and she deserved every minute. My mom allowed me to raise my family my way and rarely called upon my family and I for help until her later years. She simply enjoyed watching our family grow. For this, I'm grateful to her. Even in her final years and days, she would regularly refuse help from my children. Mom lived her life the way she wanted until her last days. In many ways, Mom was incredibly lucky, as we were, to be able to watch her enjoy and share in the final years and days. Mom watched our children, Holland and Alex, grow up from newborn babies to now adults. Mom came to the music recitals, the birthdays, and the high school and university graduations. Mom regularly joined us for dinner, or we met her at a restaurant. Mom was with us for all holidays and birthdays. Her favorite restaurants for her birthday and Mother's Day were the Royal Vancouver Yacht Club and Queen Elizabeth's Seasons in the Park. Mom's appetite was amazing. Mom loved the Friday night buffet at the Royal Van Yacht Club, always enjoying a full plate of seafood, mussels, crab legs, and smoked salmon for an appetizer, and returning for a rare steak cut of prime rib with gravy. She was always returned for at least 3 to 4 desserts. I believe this was one of her favorite places in the world. She would sit enjoying a glass of wine and soaking in the Vancouver waterfront views with a quiet confidence, like she had arrived. Our family is happy to have been able to indulge her several times a year. Mom loved Glenn's Christmas and Thanksgiving turkey dinners. She loved the full serving of moist turkey, creamy mashed potatoes, candied yams, carrots, and parsnips with gravy just over the turkey and potatoes. Mom enjoyed the craziness that came with the Christmas dinners and a young family. While we were preparing dinner or cleaning up, Mom often enjoyed watching the Planet Earth DVDs, often with our elderly dog Molly by her side. We bought her the same series for her to enjoy at home. When the Canada line opened in 2010, Mom would mention how tired she was. She was 81 years old at the time. I asked her what she was doing. She said she would go to the Canada line, go to the Coquitlam Casino, then head to the Vancouver Casino, and then to Richmond River Rock Casino. I suggested to Mom that she should only go to one city a day, only one casino a day, Mom, please. She was unstoppable. Mom would hop on the bus, take the ferry to Victoria, have lunch, and see the Butcher Gardens, then head back onto the ferry to Vancouver. Mom loved the free ferry and bus pass for seniors. For her, the world was her oyster, and she did not listen to anyone who told her otherwise. It was difficult for Mom to pass up a bargain. She would take the bus, transfer to the SkyTrain, and ride to Metrotown to buy a single item, like toilet paper, that was on sale, when she could buy it at London Drugs down the street. It was the adventure for her that kept her going. Mom loved the P&E. She would go through the gates at the casino and then gamble a bit at the slots, have a meal, and walk through the P&E grounds. She would sometimes go alone a few times a season if her friends did not join her. I knew she was slowing down when she stopped visiting the P&E, but that did not mean she stopped gambling altogether. She would always find her way to get out of the house. One day, out of the blue, she called me to see if Glenn could pick her up from the Vancouver casino. She won $3,000 cash at the slots and didn't want to be followed and mugged. Dinner was on Mom that night. She was sharp as a knife until her final days. Undeniably a smart woman in very much her own way. She always knew who to call on and when it mattered. Mom was incredibly lucky at the slots and always told us when she won and at which casino, often while catching up over regular dim sum dates. Whenever Alex and I were working nearby, we would always call Mom to see if she would join us for dim sum. These were some of Alex's favorite memories with Mom, just the three of us. Mom was a small woman, but by no means was she frail. Her strength was compelling, even at the ripe age of 89, when she was diagnosed with cancer. No, this was not going to stop her. She battled and won, overcoming challenges to maintain her independence and live out her final years on her own. Again, how she wanted to live. She continued to fight to live her life exactly how she desired until she was cancer-free. Mom taught me that the human spirit can overcome anything. There is nothing stronger than the will to live. After Mom's cancer diagnosis, I asked her what she would like to do before her operation. She said her friends visited the newly opened Park Casino and that she would really like to go there. So, of course, Glenn and I took Mom to the Park Casino. She sat at a slot machine and proceeded to win $700 in a matter of minutes. But this win was special to Mom. Even when we were worried sick for her on the eve of her surgery, when she won, she knew she was going to be okay. Mom was always a lucky winner. She loved her son-in-law, Glenn, and knew he was always there for her, big or small. All she needed to do was ask. If Glenn wasn't available, either Holland, Alex, or I was there, even if it was just a ride home from the doctor's a few blocks away. In Mom's later years, Glenn would often take Mom to her doctor's appointments and grocery shopping. He would always come back with funny stories of how this petite woman, less than 5 feet tall, would make her way through a crowd like a linebacker with Glenn loyally following behind her. She was small in stature, demure and quiet at times, but she knew how to make her presence known. Over the decades, Glenn and Mom formed a special bond. He was always attentive to Mom's emotional, spiritual, and physical well-being. He was the best son-in-law she could have asked for. Glenn made sure Mom was able to make her yearly trips to pay respects to Dad and the ancestors. As the always devoted and caring son-in-law, Glenn asked Mom if she still missed Dad, and she said yes, terribly. It was awfully hard on Mom having to make a new life on her own after Dad's passing, and with most of her children grown with families living outside of the province and country. But she was not indecisive about how she would live her life. At dinner one day, we asked how she wanted to live her final years. Mom shared that she wanted to stay in her house. Glenn said, "I'm only your son-in-law here, but we will do what we can for you." Mom said to Glenn, "You are like my son." Mom made Glenn promise that he and our family will take care of the grave sites and pay our respects to her and her ancestors. Mom, we will do this for you, and we will visit often. She always knew how she wanted to live her life, even to the very end. Mom was fiercely independent. I admire her tenacity and independence that has become part of her legacy. I will always remember Mom's fierce fight to keep her independence, even until her last day on earth. For Mom, it was my way or the highway, and she made sure we all knew it. Even my children knew it. I know how difficult it was for Mom over the decades since Mom's passing to continue to stay independent and to build her own life. Mom survived major world events and personal tragedy. We live in a world that has changed vastly over her lifetime, and she changed and grew alongside it. I've come to understand Mom and the choices she made, and know she did her absolute best and loved us her way. Through COVID, Mom said she was fine. We did not see her in her house for over a year, and I'm sure she missed dim sum and dinners with her friends and family. She will always say, "I'm all right." That was her favorite word, "I'm all right." Mom never asked for much or wanted to impose on me and my family. We knew she was lonely, but we could not risk exposing her. We did our best, calling regularly when we could not see her. Holland, especially at times, calling Mom every day. Mom's resilience to stay at home with the assistance of our family instead of an institution meant that she was able to stay healthy and become double vaccinated. Mom survived the COVID pandemic. We were all looking forward to sharing in family dinners and dim sum dates again. The June heat wave was unprecedented. A once-in-a-lifetime record-breaking event. Our mother would not overcome this one. Glenn and I found her near death. We saved her life, and she and her family were given 8 more days until she decided that it was time for her to leave this world. I'm grateful for the final days we had with Mom. We were all lucky for the chance to say goodbye to her. We wish her enduring luck will pass on to us, and she will look after our families. Alex visited Grandmom in the hospital the Tuesday after we found her, and she was terribly upset over Grandmom's condition. She went to clean up her grandfather and her great-grandparents' grave sites, as well as visit John. She asked the ancestors for just a little more time for Mom. We would like to think that they heard her. I told Mom about what Alex did and showed her the pictures of the pristine graves adorned with flowers. Mom chuckled and smiled. She was impressed and amused by Alex's handiwork. Mom knows we will take care of her and the ancestors, and that Alex will be there as Glenn and I grow older ourselves. Mom was speaking to us and kept her sense of humor up to the last day of her life. A nurse would come and check on her statistics and faculties, asking where she was or if she knew the day of the week. Mom replies, "My son-in-law saved my life." And I would say, "Mom, I was there too." She was funny and had a unique sense of humor, usually by endlessly adoring Glenn by singing his praise to me, whether it was saving her life or that his cooking was much better than mine. In the hospital, even up to the last day, she was telling me what to do. Her humor was sometimes tongue-in-cheek. Mom would say, "Don't tell the neighbors. They want to buy my house. And don't sell my house cheap." "Yes, Mom, I'll do what you told me to do, and I will do it your way." Thank you, Mom, for all your advice. We each have so many stories about the special times we shared with Mom, the holiday celebrations, the weekly dinners, the phone calls. We will forever fondly remember your time with us. We will miss you, Mom, Grandmother. You chose the day that you would leave our world, Dad's Chinese birthday, July 5th. We know how dearly you miss each other, and now you may rest in peace together forever. Thank you for everything you did for us, all the choices and sacrifices you made so that we and our families may succeed and freely enjoy life for many generations. Your legacy will live on. We wish to tell you that you did your best as a mother, a grandmother, and we love you very much as part of our family. We will always remember you, my mother, Glenn's second mother, and our children's grandmother. We will always remember you, honor you, and visit you, and I will do as you told me to do. Thank you. We love you. We wish you a good journey to the other side, to join Dad happily and finally in eternity, always together and never apart. Thank you.
I'd like to say a few words that I don't think most of you people don't know. Mom had a brother in her village. She had 2 nephews, and they have 5 offspring. A sister in Hong Kong, and she had 3 kids and 1 child. And every year, she make a point of sending a gift to them. In addition, she took care of grandmother's grave in the whole village. Throughout the years, I was fortunate enough to visit them and pay respect to them and say hello to them. And they remember Mom very well. In addition, our families have branches in Puerto Rico, in New York, in Panama. Okay? And they all remember her. I remember the life she went through, the hardship she went through for all of us. And we all grew up well. And there are 5 of us in here now. We all done well. Okay? I personally worked in 14 countries in 6 continents, as an example. We all have a good career thanks to her hardship and support. And we thank you, Mom.
We're going to ask now for groups of private time. Followed by the groups of private time, we will have an empty chapel time for those who are viewing abroad. And then we'll have a short family time, and then Yin will have a private time at the very end. I'll ask if everybody who would like to stay in can stay in the chapel as a group, if you'd like to stay as a group, or if you want your own time alone, you can leave the chapel and come back in when the next group exits. As you exit the chapel, I have set up 14 candles in the back for the 14 people who are in attendance here. If you would like to ignite 1 candle as you leave the chapel, just as a representative of your family. So if you'd like to stay in the chapel, I'll invite the family to step out for just a moment, as they'll have some time alone in just a little bit.
Good morning. My name is Danny Ho, and I've known the Ho family for over 50 years. I know Mrs. Ho, we call her Bot now, since I was 5 years old. And I just want to say a few words to give an idea of the kind of life we had when we were very young. And I'm very appreciative of Mrs. Ho and her family, everyone seated here, during those early times of my life. I knew Mrs. Ho when I was about 5 years old. We lived in a hotel in the downtown east side. I grew up in a single-parent family with my brother and my other brother, and we were, quite poor. In 1965, Mrs. Ho and her family moved to Vancouver, and we had the joy and luckiness to have them be our neighbor. I just want to give everybody an idea how kind Mrs. Ho was. She and her children made things very bearable for us. She, like my mother, earned a living sewing clothes. And even though we didn't have a lot of money, she and my mother would take us kids to Stanley Park Lumberman's Arch and to P&E to allow us to play. And they would make food for us like chicken, chow mein and fried chicken. They would make all these things for us kids so that we would feel like children. It was too expensive to buy, and we would find a park, like a picnic spot behind the buildings. And yeah, those are some of the memories I have of Mrs. Ho, partner. And like I say, I just want to acknowledge her kindness and her friendship and all her children that's here. And I'm grateful to all of you. And yes, she did raise wonderful children. And we looked up all to you as well. And I agree with Susan, her youngest daughter, we call her Saimoy, that she was a very tough person. Because I remember when we were living at that downtown hotel, the downtown east side, there were a lot of maybe drunks, and she would make sure that they kept in line. Like she had a fierceness about her, even though she was only like 5 feet tall, right? So, but I remember that she was a very strong person. She was a very caring person. And 50 years later, although we don't maintain too much contact, I still treasure those memories. And I will always love and care for her. And I just want to just share those thoughts. And I just want to say God bless her and God bless all her children and family here.
Hi, my name is Edward. I'm Danny's younger brother and cousins to the Ho's here. So basically, I just want to say a message to Auntie Backnow. So basically, Auntie Backnow 非常多謝你帶領我哋三一齋嗰個時間，嗰個時間係遇到啲艱難，但我哋好開心。玩嚟玩過，你帶我去拍，去大啲賽，非常多謝你。My brother already covered most of it in English, so I just kept it short.
We spoke in the Chinese village, but we're saying this from the bottom of our hearts.
In the front there.
I actually wasn't going to say anything, but I felt that I have to, especially after Danny. I do remember all those times where Sam Nung and Mom would make the fried chicken at the morning of, and they would make dumplings and buy the bottles of pop and get us on the bus and take us to the P&E. And the first thing we would do was, like Danny said, find a spot and eat everything all at once, so we didn't have to carry it around the rest of the day. And I know that both our mothers worked very hard to give us those memories. And I think that's the one thing we have to remember about Mom is she was such a good woman, and I have to thank the family for allowing me the opportunity to get to know her better by having to go through various papers to organize this. And all I can say is I'm so very proud of who she was, that she was such a strong woman and dedicated to life and family. So I just wanted to say thank you all for coming, and we'll always have her in our hearts.
So anybody who would like to have some viewing time alone, you're more than welcome. If not, you can come up and pay respects, and then eventually we'll have a private time with the family.